I was being forced to stay out. I would say, oh, like I want to go home, stuff like this, like I'm tired and whatnot. And they'd say, no, like you're staying up the whole night, you're staying with us the whole night. You've got to bring me back this amount of money. And if you lose it, if you do it, if you mess up, like it's gonna be bad for you. Even to points where I was just sleeping in crackheads' houses, just there with bed bugs, and it was nasty. Like I didn't feel free. It was like for my whole life I didn't feel free. When you're in a cell for 24 hours, man, all you can think about is what's next. Your mind is racing all the time, like, oh, what's gonna happen to me now? I wonder what my mum's thinking, I wonder what everyone's thinking. How am I gonna turn things around?
We all know children and young people are a reflection of what's around them. They respond to the stimulus that they receive within their community, within their family, within their social environment. Jigsaw4u is a community-based mental health and wellbeing charity. We're based in southwest London. We deliver a series of programmes, services and projects to support children, young people and families experiencing complex social and emotional difficulties. I do worry about the way things are at the moment. I hear the stories of the young people, hear the crises, I know the demand for our services. The cost of living crisis and the inflation and the economic situation affects charities. For me and my role, the challenge is keeping this going and reach the people that need it.
He was referred to me about 5 years ago. He had a missing incident and I went to conduct the RHI with him, the return home interview.
I grew up in Croydon. My mum was really sick and it didn't really seem like anyone else cared apart from me. In terms of school, my attendance was really low. I guess that itself was making my mum worse. I was just turning 13. Me and my mum got evicted. We were in and out of bed and breakfasts and in and out of hostels and whatnot. One day, I just woke up and I've come out of my bedroom and I've come to speak to my mum. I found her in her room, I saw blood everywhere. I've assumed that she fell, but then I saw vomit, so it wasn't that. She wasn't breathing by the time the ambulance got there. They had to resuscitate her in our own home. They put her into an induced coma. She had bleeding in her brain, but the reason that she was passed out in the first place is because she tried to overdose. Yeah, that was the lowest point of my life. And that's kind of where I got into the path that I shouldn't have went on. I got arrested a lot of times. In and out of care homes. I've lost some friends to knife crime. It was quite hard.
Everything we do here aims to facilitate and support long-lasting change for the individual. With the best will in the world, your statutory bodies, your schools, your social services, your CAMs, they can't meet all the need of where it's at for young people. So we're absolutely essential and we need to continue to make sure that we can fill in the gaps around the statutory services.
When I met him, my initial feeling was he's not going to engage with me at all. He was very quiet, he was very shy. He was really vulnerable.
My carer told me that we would be having someone coming round from Jigsaw. If I'm honest, I didn't really want to trust Angie or like tell her anything, because I dealt with so many professionals at this point that I felt like anytime I did really tell anyone anything, it didn't really help out.
I recommended on that return home interview that he had some keep safe work with me, 4 to 6 sessions around his gang affiliation and suspected drug dealing. So I started work with him.
We were running from police one time and I chose to go my own way because I felt like it was the best way. I felt like if I didn't go that way, I would have been caught. And then when I get back to the older person, he's mad at me and my friend, and he beat us up for it. So at that point, I was just scared of getting beat up for anything, really. During that time, I was doing it with a friend called Michael. When I'd been arrested, he had gone to Stratford that day. Apparently there was a big group of boys. He tried to get out of there and he got stabbed on that night. I remember speaking to his mum on the phone, she was crying. I felt like it was my fault.
Unfortunately, criminal exploitation is not uncommon. It's a tactic used by criminals and by criminal gangs to reduce the risk on themselves and reduce risk of getting caught. They look for young people that are vulnerable, young people in the care system, young people from dysfunctional families, because they're able to control these young people. And none of it's by accident, the selection process, which makes it even more sinister and evil.
And I remember one day, this young person really just cried. It was almost as if he'd never cried ever in his life. And it was like a breakthrough moment where it was okay, and he was witnessed, and it was okay.
It was really hard at first to trust anyone, but it felt good to actually have somewhere where I can talk about these things and get them off my chest.
And we really quickly developed a trust between us, and a level of communication that was, I think, honest.
We actually spoke about things rather than I just say something and it's like, oh, okay, well, this could be happening to you, or you could be depressed, it could be PTSD, whatever, go do this. This time it felt different because we actually spoke about things.
Straplines helping put the pieces back together. One of the beautiful things of working with children and young people is whatever's going on for them, however bad it is, they've got a future and they've got the majority of their life ahead of them, and they'll have the opportunity as they get older to design their life to make it look how they want it to look.
Me and Angie were seeing each other once a week. It was kind of like if anything bad happened that week, I know I had one day in that week to kind of just get everything off my chest and talk about it all. A day where I could just deal with all the weekly troubles. And I felt like that's how we worked, really. Even though I said I was comfortable talking to my mum, I didn't really feel comfortable telling her some things. It might sound dull and it might sound like it doesn't help, but I mean, actually having someone to finally be able to get everything off my chest to, it kind of helped me be able to think more clearly about what I wanted to do, because I had more of a clear head. I didn't have all these questions clustered up in my head now.
A lot of the work with him was about who he was. I think that young people do get lost in the system and their identity gets lost. So the work is, you know, who am I? Who am I? What do I want? Where do I want to go?
how am I gonna turn things around? Where can I start? What can I do and where can I go to kind of make this start? And so those are the type of questions I would ask Angie, and it was kind of like having a mentor. It proper helped, it really did help. The answers give me clarity. I think gradually I just started becoming more in tune with my emotions. I started making it more visible and more noticeable that I was feeling some type of way.
So we very much look at it like a X to Y point. At this point of their life, this trauma or difficulty potentially could have stopped them getting to the Y point, whether the Y point was going to university, being a professional athlete, being a gardener, anything. So what we aim to do in between is to remove this barrier or this trauma to allow this process to continue, and that's used as a learning process and a learning curve as opposed to a barrier which is preventing the Y point from being achieved.
I mean, you can always have a plan in your head. You can always have an idea of what you want to do. Like, you can always say, oh, I want to be an astronaut or whatever. It's about knowing how to get there and what steps to take. Before Jigsaw, I didn't feel like I had many options. Having an idea in my head of what I wanted to do, and then also having someone that can tell me, oh, well, you need to get from A to B to C to get to D. I got arrested a lot of times to the point where I was nearly going to face jail time if I didn't change. And I feel like Angie really helped me keep away from getting to that point. Someone was able to guide me on the right path. Someone was able to guide me that way. I kind of was able to use the police as an excuse to stay away from it. I was like, well, I just got arrested, so I'm not doing this anymore. I want to start going to school again. I want to take things seriously. I want to do my GCSEs. And I did it. I think what Jigsaw4u does really well is that they don't make the young people feel alone. When you do talk to any of the counsellors, they share that pain with you. You guys are going through it together. I remember times like me and Angie have had conversations, and I've cried, and I'm pretty sure Angie's cried as well. It's really good to have someone that does really understand you and is listening to you and feels what you're going through.
They do the work. They're being seen, they're being acknowledged, they are being heard, but they do the work. It's about being real with people, not telling them that you can give them something that you can't, but meeting people where they're at, you know, which is really difficult when someone's in a really difficult place, but meeting them there and walking beside someone.
We're acutely aware of the needs and the demands of the communities in South West London that we're here to support, and we're determined and committed to gathering the resources to be able to provide that support.
I went to school, I did my GCSEs, I went to college, I studied health and social care.
The success this young person's experienced, it's hard to explain the feeling. I wouldn't say it's just pride, because I'm proud in a way. I wouldn't say it's just recognition, because I already recognise the staff and the volunteers and the incredible jobs that they do. I think it just reminds me of why we're here and why this charity was set up. Why we're all doing what we do, why we work so hard to make this continue to work, and the resilience of human beings in general, and the goodness of human beings in general, and the reassurance of the fact that if you give people what they need when they need it, emotionally, psychologically and spiritually, then they can overcome whatever's put in front of them and achieve their potentials.
I guess my message for people going through something similar to me is don't feel like you're alone and don't feel like you can't talk to anyone about it. When you find someone you can trust and you can talk to, and I think that's all you really need. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I'd have to say. And just, if you are struggling, you're never alone. So just hang in there.